In here we can create a UI panel. We'll call this the WinPanel. And then we can actually take this Horde text, duplicate it, put it in here in this WinPanel, and we'll call this stage complete. And then we'll make a few other ones. This one will be stats. This one will be accuracy. And this one will be zombies killed. And I'm going to focus up on them, go to 2D, and let's just organize this by putting this at the top. And what this one will say will be stage complete. Oops, complete. I'll change it to red. And for stats, put this over here. Let's say frame left like that. Put this as green, and it'll say stats. Then for accuracy, we could put this, call this accuracy, and scooch it over like that. Zombies killed, same deal. Zombies killed, and put it right underneath. Let's start with the accuracy calculation. In order to get the accuracy, we're going to need to count how many times the player is actually firing their gun. The way we can do this is by coming into our weapons. Start off with our pistol. And what we could do is add in a new state called add shots fired. And we'll put it after we subtract ammo. And after shots fired, we go up to idle. All right, so what do we want to put in here? Let's start off with a get FSM int, followed by an int add, and then a set FSM int. Now, before we set the values for this, let's go ahead and come over to our game manager, and we're going to put in a get owner, and we're going to store this as a new global variable called game manager. That way, even when we're working inside of a prefab or templates, we could still reference the game manager. And actually, let's not put it in this zombie manager FSM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out of there, and I'm going to put it over here in the info initialization. Okay, so what a get owner does is it gets this game object itself and it stores it in this variable. And then in the variables tab, we're going to make a new int value called shots fired. And I'm even going to copy this text because we're going to need to reference it right now. Capitalization and all that, you know the drill. Coming over to our pistol, now we can specify our game manager in the info FSM, the shots fired variable. Okay, we're going to store that in this. Same thing, call it shots fired. Now we're going to add one shot to that number of shots fired. And then we're going to set that FSM back in the game manager. Okay, and the value that we're setting is shots fired. So we get it, add one to it, and then give that new sum back to the game manager. Okay, so I'm going to copy this state. I'm going to come over to our machine gun, and I'm going to paste it in. And the subtract ammo in here actually goes off to continue fire. So that's where our add shots fired is going to continue to, and subtract ammo comes here first. Another thing that we're going to want to do really quick before we forget is in game manager, in game over, we can have a set int value that sets shots fired to 0. Okay. Now similarly, in our variables tab here in our info manager, we're going to add in another int. We're going to call this one shots hit. Okay, I'm going to copy that string, and we're going to go to our pistol, except here, after deal damage, we're going to put in shot hit, and then it'll send to the subtract ammo state. And then what we'll do is get FSM int. Actually, you know what we could do? Could just paste the string right here into the description so I have it there. And just gonna copy all of these and paste it in the shots hit, except this time I'm gonna copy this and paste it in here, shots hit, new variable, shots hit, and there we go. Okay, so this does the same thing, it's just adding to shots hit. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this state and put it in our machine gun. Okay. This goes off to subtract ammo, and this comes down here. Nice. So now, in our accuracy, we're gonna right click to add this FSM, and we'll just call this accuracy. We'll have two states. First will be calculate accuracy, and then we'll have set text. In our calculate accuracy, we're gonna get two get FSM ints. And the first one is going to get from our game manager info shots fired. Okay, and actually I'm just gonna copy and paste that instead of this one. And the next one will get shots hit. This will store in shots fired, and this one will store in the variable shots hit. Now, even though these are int variables, we're gonna be using some float actions. The first one's gonna be a float operator. And when you use float actions, you can always do convert. So we're gonna convert our shots fired int to a float. It's gonna be for the first float. So we're gonna select our shots hit int, and that's gonna convert to a float here as our first float. And then the second float, we're gonna convert our shots fired, and we're gonna divide these. And we're gonna call this hit divided by fired underscore float. And then we're gonna put in another float operator. And the first one is going to be that hit divided by fired float. It's gonna be 100, and we are multiplying these. And this will be our accuracy float. When that's all done, it comes over here to set text. And we're gonna convert float to string, our accuracy float, to accuracy underscore string. And we're gonna give it that double digit format. Then we're gonna have a build string, put it after it. And this build string is gonna be composed of 3 parts. So the first part is going to say accuracy. It's a little colon. The second part is going to be our accuracy string. The last part is going to be a percentage sign. And there's not gonna be any separators, and we won't add anything to the end. And at the end, we're just going to send that back into our accuracy string. And then we'll have a UI text set text, and that's on the owner, right? We're on the accuracy text. So we could just change this variable to accuracy string. Let's give that a go. I'm gonna deactivate the WinPanel. And actually, you know, while we're here too, I'm gonna change the color of this WinPanel to black. And I'm gonna increase the alpha a little bit. Okay. Okay. Gonna deactivate that. Let's test this out. Okay, so I'm gonna set off the Horde and then go grab a machine gun. Don't mind me. Perfect machine gun. And great, it's open, but I need to test out our accuracy. So I'm gonna take all these guys out. Okay, and got to the roof. Huh, what happened? Oh, we didn't set this up to activate our WinPanel. Okay, but I'm gonna activate it myself. Okay, accuracy is 92%. So if we go into accuracy, we could see the calculation here that we fired off 50 shots, right? I emptied my entire machine gun. They were all right underneath me. It was like fish in a barrel. And so I basically landed most of those shots, right? 46 shots, which comes out to an accuracy of 92%. All right, great, so that's working. All right, so that's our accuracy FSM. Let's make sure this win panel actually opens up when we win. So here in the win state of our game manager, I'm just gonna go ahead and drag and drop our win panel in here. Game object, activate game object, and I'm gonna turn off recursive. And I'm just gonna hit this reset on exit. So when we leave this state, it'll turn the win panel off. Okay, so let's go to our zombies killed game object, and we're gonna set this up, adding a new FSM. We'll call this one zombies killed. And in here, we're gonna have a get FSM int and a build string. And what we'll do is specify our game manager, and we'll say from its info FSM, there'll be a new variable that we can end up calling, we haven't made it yet, but we'll call it something like zombies killed. Okay, copying that, making a new variable here. This is only going to be 2 elements. So the first one will be converting that number of zombies killed, right? And then I'll hit space, because there needs to be a space between zombies killed and that, and zombies killed. Okay, and no separator, adding nothing to the end, and we'll store this result as a new variable called zombies killed underscore string. All right, and then we're going to have a UI text set text, and it's going to be setting this with zombies killed underscore string. Okay, we'll call this zombies killed. So this zombies killed int hasn't been added to our game manager, so let's add that in. In our variables, we can add in a new int, zombies killed. And over here in our zombie, in its health FSM, when it's dead, I'm gonna say finished, it's gonna go down here to a new state that will have add zombies killed. And in here, we'll have a get FSM int, an int add, and a set FSM int. Okay, so the order that it goes in is gets it, adds to it, and then gives that summation back to the FSM. It's going to be getting from the global's game manager, the FSM is info, variable name is zombies killed, storing it in a new variable called zombies killed, adding 1, right? Because this zombie just died, so it's saying add myself. That's 1 more to the amount of zombies killed. And then we're setting that number back in the game manager, the FSM info, and that variable. And the new value that we're setting is our zombies killed. Okay, so now every time a zombie dies, it adds itself to that number. So let's test this out. And I'm gonna try to kill some of them before. Got a headshot on one of them, come on. Okay, just firing like crazy. All right, here we go, I'm gonna get to this roof. Okay, accuracy is 100% because I was shooting into nothing but zombies, and I killed 26 of them. All right, so it says 26 zombies killed, and those are our stats. Looking pretty good. So the thing is, when you finish the game, you're just stuck on this screen. So we need to give this a button that will either let you play again or take you back to the main menu. So let's go ahead and get that set up. I'm gonna activate the win panel. I'm gonna add in a button. We'll call this play again. And we'll go ahead and duplicate it and call this one main menu. Okay, so for play again, and for main menu, gonna put that in there. Right. And I'm just gonna scooch these down like this. Put play again right here and main menu right underneath it. Okay, and we're gonna add an FSM to this. So play again, what it'll do is send an event to our game manager, to info, and we're going to send to the game over, because our game over essentially is just for resetting all of our values. Okay, so this is play again, and we're going to have the start state, initialization state. Okay, we're actually going to make this our start state. And this will be on global transition, UI events, UI click. Okay, so adding this UI click, whenever we click, it'll send off this event. Let's go ahead and copy this component, copy that FSM. And in the main menu, we're going to paste it in, paste as new. Okay, except the difference here is instead of the send event, we're going to have a load level. Okay, and the level name will be main menu. Now we're going to take this main menu, I'm copying that text, and I'm going to come over here to scenes, and in scenes I'm going to right click, create scene. I'm going to paste that in so it's spelled exactly the same way. And that way this main menu button will look for scenes from our build settings that are labeled just like this. Okay, so what you need to do to have that set up is go to your build settings, and then up here you need to put in the scenes in which to build. That's what this box is for. So we're going to drag in our main menu, and we're going to drag in our level. Okay, and then I'm just going to close that. When you click on this main menu button, it'll take you to the main menu. When you click on the play again button, it'll just play from the top. I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this WinPanel. And we're gonna save our scene before we go over to the main menu. So I just hit Control S, or you can hit Command S on a Mac. You can hit right here, save. So now I'm gonna go into our main menu. Okay, and in here, I'm gonna make a new folder. And I'll call this 05_UI. And in my UI, this is where I have a title card asset that I made. We're going to create UI canvas, and I'm just going to keep it as that. And then in here, I'm going to do UI image. Okay, and this will be title card. And this is where I'll add in this title card. So the texture type, I'm going to change it to sprite for 2D and UI. Okay, I'm going to hit the supply button. And now with this title card gameObject selected, I can just drag and drop this in here. And we're going to preserve aspect. And I'm just going to go ahead and scale it up a little bit. Now in our canvas, I'm going to add a couple of buttons. This will be the start button, and this will be the exit button. So in start, I'm going to be calling this one start, and in exit, let's say exit. Okay, so I'm going to give this an FSM and add another state. Okay, in here we're going to have a load level. So this is for our start, which means that we're going to want to get this scene to load, which is spelled level. And I'm going to add in a global transition UI click. Okay, so this will be load game, and this is just initialization. And then down here, we're going to have the same thing. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to create a new state, and okay, initialization and exit application. Okay, this gets global transition, UI events, UI click, except for here, we're going to have application quit. Okay, so this just closes out the game. And I'm going to move these down so they're a little less in the way. Okay, and now if we run it, okay, so I can hit the start button, and it loads our game. Okay, we do need to change our character position back to the start, but here we are. Let's give our UI a test too. So we're going to start the Horde. Okay, accuracy was nothing because I didn't try shooting anything, and there were 0 zombies killed. All right, so the thing is, my mouse disappeared on this screen, so we're gonna need to make sure that we can reactivate the cursor when this panel pops up. Okay, I had to hit escape to make it pop up right now. I actually can't even click on any of the buttons. So set mouse cursor. Okay, so in our player shoot, we have this set mouse cursor, but that's a little too definitive. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. And instead, over here in our game manager at the win state, I'm gonna put in a set mouse cursor, and we'll unhide the cursor and unlock the cursors. We could basically just leave all of this blank. But I'm also gonna copy this, and over here in the game over, I'm gonna paste this in. And that way I'm gonna hide the cursor and lock the cursor again. And just to keep all of our cursor logic in the same place, I'm gonna copy the one that hides it and locks it. I'm gonna put it in this initialize state, and then I'm gonna come over to our player, and in player shoot, I'm gonna get rid of it from here. And that way, whenever we wanna fuss with any of the set mouse cursor stuff, we know that it's all taken care of here in our game manager info FSM. All right, so let's give this a shot. Okay, so I'm gonna set this off, and okay, and now when we got here, I have control over my mouse, and I can hit the main menu button. And actually, I can't even hit it right now, but that's because we don't have an event system game object. Usually, if you came over here and say did a right click and then UI canvas, you see how it came with this extra game object here? Somewhere down the line in creating some of these game objects, you may have, like I did, gotten rid of your event system accidentally. I'm just going to delete this extra canvas I made, and I'm going to keep this event system. This event system is a necessary game object because it has these necessary components for Unity's UI stuff to work out, and subsequently for Playmaker's UI stuff to work out. So in our WinPanel, our play again and main menu buttons are dependent on this existing. Okay, so just make sure you have this event system game object added into your scene. I'm gonna go ahead and deactivate this WinPanel, hit play, got to the roof, got my mouse access back, and I can click on these buttons now. So for example, I can hit play again and it'll restart me, or I can hit this main menu and it takes me back to the menu. Okay, if I hit start, it starts me off.